in the golden heart of ancient Egypt, where the Nile glided like a silver serpent through the desert, stood a palace unlike any other. Its walls were carved with sun discs, its courtyards filled with incense, and its halls echoed with the whispered prayers of priests. And inside those halls lived a ruler whose decisions would shake the foundations of Egyptian tradition. Man both worshipped and feared. His name was Akhenaten, the pharaoh who defied gods, rewrote religion, and committed one of the most forbidden acts in Egyptian royal history. But before the world accused him, before the priests plotted against him, and before Egypt tried to erase him from memory, there was a story of daughters who became more than princesses, and a king whose obsession blurred the line between love, power, and madness. Akhenaten had many children, but among them 2 daughters stood as jewels of his kingdom, Meritaten, the calm and wise elder, and Ankhesenpatan, the quiet, observant younger sister. They were born into a kingdom in rebellion. Akhenaten had abolished Egypt's ancient gods, the mighty Amen, the fierce Sekhmet, the protector Osiris, and replaced them all with Aten, the radiant sun disk. Nobles murmured, priests protested, and the people grew uneasy. But inside the palace, the young princesses grew up under their father's watchful gaze. Whenever Akhenaten walked with them through the gardens, servants kept their eyes lowered. Whenever Akhenaten walked with them through the gardens, servants kept their eyes lowered. When he lifted one of them into his arms, courtiers whispered among themselves. The pharaoh's affection seemed too intense, too consuming, but no one dared question him. He was, after all, the living god of Egypt. But everything changed when Nefertiti, Akhenaten's great love and powerful queen, slowly vanished from public life. Some said she died of illness. Others whispered that she, too, was sacrificed to the sun god Aten. Without Nefertiti, the palace dimmed. The musicians played, but no one danced. The incense burned, but lost its sweetness. Akhenaten walked through the palace like a man haunted, and in his grief, his eyes fell even more intensely upon his daughters. But to him, they were not just princesses. They were the blood of Aten, born under sacred omens, touched by divine purpose. Soon, they were seated beside him in ceremonies, positions once reserved only for queens. The priests began to grow suspicious. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the palace bathed in red light, Akhenaten summoned his advisors. His voice was calm, but his eyes burned like fire. Aten has spoken to me, he declared. My daughters are chosen. They shall sit beside me not as children, but as consorts. The advisors froze. Marrying family within royal bloodlines was not unknown in Egypt. Kings had married sisters to preserve the divine bloodline, but daughters, children, that was a boundary no pharaoh had crossed so openly. Still no advisor spoke. No one dared. The word of the pharaoh was law, even when it defied the heavens. The palace changed overnight. Rooms were prepared, jewelry crafted, ceremonial garments sewn. Akhenaten and Akhenaten were dressed like queens, their hair braided with gold threads, their foreheads adorned with the cobra of royalty. But behind the silk curtains, fear grew like a shadow. Servants whispered of curses. Court ladies wept softly in corners. Even the palace guards, hardened by years of service, felt uneasy. For the daughters themselves, confusion weighed on their hearts. Akhenaten tried to be strong. Akhenaten avoided speaking at all. Their father had always been protective, gentle even, but now something about his gaze seemed different, more intense, more demanding, more dangerous. Yet they had no voice, no choice. They were daughters of a king loved but owned. The ceremony took place at dawn. The rising sun bathed the city in golden fire. Priests stood trembling, holding sacred offerings. Musicians played hymns to Aten, and before the blazing disk of the sun, Akhenaten placed crowns upon his daughters' heads. The people watched in stunned silence. Some bowed, some refused. Some simply stared, unable to comprehend what their king had done. For Akhenaten, it was the highest devotion to Aten, act of divine obedience. To him, the sun god demanded purity of blood, unity of the royal line, and the joining of chosen souls. But to everyone else, it was a crime against nature. The decision shattered what remained of Akhenaten's support. Priests of the old gods, already furious at the destruction of their temples, began plotting his downfall. Generals grew restless, angered that the pharaoh cared more for his religious visions than Egypt's enemies at the borders. Even the common people, once willing to tolerate his reforms, whispered of madness overtaking the throne. Inside the palace, Akhenaten tried to act as the stabilizing force. She stood beside her father at ceremonies, offered counsel, and tried to maintain peace. Yet Akhenaten grew more distant. She walked the palace gardens alone, spoke to no one, and stared at the sun with frightened eyes. The daughters were queens now, but that title felt like a curse rather than a blessing. Within a few years, Akhenaten's health began to fail. Some said it was the stress of ruling a divided kingdom. Some said the gods he had banished cursed him. Others whispered that he was poisoned by those who loved Egypt more than they feared their king. As he weakened, his daughters remained at his side. They bathed his forehead, held his trembling hands, listened as he murmured prayers to Aten, even in delirium. But when Akhenaten finally died, Egypt did not mourn him the way it mourned other pharaohs. Instead, the priests rose again. The old gods returned, the nobles reclaimed their power, and the new rulers made one decision above all. Akhenaten's legacy must be erased. His statues were destroyed. His name was chiseled from monuments. His city was abandoned. And the story of his forbidden union was buried under centuries of sand. History speaks little of what became of Akhenaten and Akhenaten. Some say they were quietly removed from power. Some say they died young. Some say they lived hidden lives under new names. What is known is this: they were victims of a king's obsession, caught between love and duty, used as symbols for a god they never chose. And when Egypt wiped Akhenaten from its memory, it wiped them as well. Only now, through fragments of writing and whispers of archaeology, do their faces rise again, young, solemn, and forever linked to the most forbidden decision in Egyptian royal history. Akhenaten believed he was chosen by the sun god. He believed he was purifying Egypt. He believed his daughters were divine instruments. But in the end, his choices brought ruin, not enlightenment. His daughters did not ask to be queens. They did not ask to be symbols. They did not ask to be sacrificed for the ambitions of a king. Their story is a reminder of the dark side of absolute power. When a ruler sees himself as a god, even his own children can become victims of his devotion. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, make sure to like and subscribe for more dives into the forgotten corners of history. See you next time.